As someone who's lived in 7 countries in the last 10 years, here are 7 reasons I think moving was one of the best decisions I've ever made. You probably clicked on this video because you're looking for a change. Well, you've come to the right place. Today, we'll be covering 7 different reasons you should move to another country. Regardless if you're coming from a developed country or an emerging market, there are a lot of reasons why you should do it. These reasons range from something that's a bit more practical to something that's a bit deeper and could change your life entirely. Before we get into any of the 7 reasons why I think you should be moving, I want you to reflect first on what drives you. What is your purpose? What are the things you're looking for in this next big move in your life? It's very important for you to be clear about that first, because I'll be giving you my personal reasons of why I think you should do it. There are many ways that you could move to another country. Today, we will not be covering any of the how questions, but more of the why questions. Let's get into it. Reason 1, independence. I first moved away from my home almost 10 years ago now. And growing up, I was always around friends and family. But when I moved abroad, I was completely alone. If I had any sort of question, the only friend I had then was Google. If I didn't know how to get around, I had to search that up by myself. If I didn't know when trash day was, I had to do that by myself. If I had a question on where to eat on a Sunday, I had to do that by myself. And so being able to do this and living alone in a foreign country will teach you how to stand on your own 2 feet. Now, this setup could be very different if you're moving alone or if you're moving with a partner or with a sibling or whatnot. But I think that this will really teach you how to live on your own. This does not mean you should not make new friends where you go. I think that's one of the best ways for you to assimilate in a new country. First, learn the language, and next, try to find a social circle. This may or may not be where you currently work or study. You could find some work friends, some school friends, but at the end of the day, the most organic relationships happen when you make the opportunities for them to do so. Reason number 2, cultural exposure. This is a very, very important reason why I think you should do this. Do you remember the first time you ever went out of your hometown with your family? And you happened to chance upon a person and you didn't understand why they were doing certain things? Well, that's a very, very important encounter that will teach you that cultures are different all around the world. I think that's quite obvious. But when you see it on vacation, it is very, very different than when you actually live in that place. Culture is a set of norms and beliefs held by a certain people. And when you live in a new country, you will experience this hands down. It could be the way they eat, the way they interact, the way they apologize, the way they meet with other people. These are all things that you will have to experience and you will have to learn. And this will broaden your horizons as a person. Don't get me wrong, this may also be the hardest part of this list. When I first moved to Japan, I didn't really fully understand why everyone would bow when they meet you. Or when I moved to the US, everyone would ask how I was doing, even if they didn't really fully expect a response. And these are things you will learn as you live in a new place. The important thing is for you to really try to understand why people say and do certain things. And once you learn that, I assure you, you will fit right in. Reason number 3, intellectual expansion. When you move for the first time, your brain is forced to comprehend a ton of different things at the exact same time. How do I use public transportation? How do I order food? The language is so different. The way they write is so different. What am I reading on this street sign? Where do I go now? How is this weather different from where I grew up? All of these things actually force your brain into learning very, very new things and allowing you to be much more intellectually adaptable to where you are and in general. You're going to learn new languages, new systems, new ways of doing things that you never thought were possible before. And this is one of the greatest benefits of moving. Reason number 4, seeking adventure. I think adventure comes in all sorts of different forms for different people. Some people just like going to the bookstore, and that's already an adventure. Some people like going to a new cafe, and that's a real adventure. For some people, it may be riding the fastest roller coaster in the world. If you move to a new country for study or for work, your weekdays will likely be occupied. But on the weekends, you can always explore something new. Go on that hike, go on that trip, try out that new food. All of these things are things you can now do since you live there. And there is no time pressure for you to find these new experiences, unlike when you're in a certain place just for vacation. If you like this type of content and you find it helpful, please consider leaving a like and a subscribe. Now back to the video. Reason number 5. Horizontal growth is the same as vertical growth. This specific reason is a lot more career progression specific. And I believe that the more you invest in broader experiences for yourself, the better your career progression will be. I know for a fact that in the corporate world, where I'm a bit more familiar with, this is absolutely true. When you compare someone with experiences across multiple geographies, they become much more valuable in a global setting. Now, I think it's also applicable to other types of industries and jobs. For example, if you're a chef, I believe you might be a bit more valuable if you know more cuisines than just one. Or if you're a healthcare professional, it might also be valuable if you've experienced treating people in different sorts of environments versus just one type of environment. This does not mean that if you move abroad, you are gonna get promoted. This is not the point. The point is that you become much more valuable as a professional the more you invest in yourself and broadening your experience base. Reason number 6, adaptability. I think this one goes without saying, that the more you put yourself into uncomfortable situations, the more you're forced to adapt. And the more you do that, the easier it becomes to adapt. When you first move to a new country, first looking for lunch might seem difficult because you don't know where to go. You don't know what the food is. You don't know what you don't know. And that forces humans to be a bit uncomfortable. The more you do this, the more you become better at adapting to different situations. And therefore, this also applies to your life. If you're faced with new challenges in the future, it becomes easier to adjust. It becomes easier to make yourself comfortable with a change. And that's something you'll really get by moving abroad. I think the first few months of moving to a new country or a new place are definitely the most challenging. This is where the adjustment is just so tough. You have to figure out your new routine, your new social circles, even political systems, government systems, public transportation. There's so many things that will force you to be uncomfortable. The more you do it step by step, one at a time, the easier it becomes. And the more you're able to face challenges in life with much more certainty and ease. Finally, reason number 7, testing your beliefs and values. The key word here is testing, not changing. I believe that your beliefs and values are what make you who you are. At the core of it, it's what makes you, you. A person's beliefs and values are what defines them. These are things that a person holds very close to their heart. It could be something like religion, or family, social circles, norms that they find very, very important and definitive to who they are. Now, when you move to a new country, you're bound to meet people who may or may not be exactly the same as you. They may do things a different way. They may have a different religion. They may value elders differently. They may value friendships differently. And I think that this is where your beliefs and values will be tested. Now, again, I said, it doesn't mean you have to change them. These new experiences will just force you to be more aware of what's really valuable to you. And that will make you a better person. Now, these are the 7 reasons I believe you should be making that next big move. Again, please think about why you want to do this. This will be a very big life-changing move, and if you don't consider all of these things beforehand, you could find yourself in a difficult situation. And if you do make that move, you might even find a new companion. I hope these 7 reasons were helpful in your reflections on why you should be making that next big move. Again, I cannot emphasize enough that you do need to reflect on this and think about your why. Now, if you found this video helpful and you'd like to find out how to move, comment how, and we'll try to cover that in our next video. Till next time, see ya.